So we're using TBR prompts along with DICE to choose our January TBR. I'm gonna expose myself right now. Still like, okay, I don't forget, Darius, like I know what you did. That's crazy that they're banning all these books in schools that I had to read. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah. Welcome to our first monthly TBR of 2025. I'm wearing this very long Eras Tour hoodie. I promise I have pants on. It's long. It's actually the first video that I'm fully filming in the new year. I am very excited to start off our monthly TBRs with something new that we haven't done before. So last year we used our advent calendar to choose, you can't really see it. Can you see it? Yes, right there. But we did our advent calendar to choose our monthly TBRs. And I wanted to try something different. I've seen over the year a lot of different ways that people have been choosing their monthly TBRs. So I want to try that, and I want to do a different way of choosing my monthly TBR every month. This month we are going to be using this fun dice game that I found on Etsy or Pinterest. I'll leave it here, but that's where I got this from. And it's basically just a fun little dice roll game to choose your TBR, and these are like TBR prompts. So we're using TBR prompts along with DICE to choose our January TBR, and I think it's just like such a cute little fun. It's not a bingo board, but I feel like it would be fun to fill up this whole board, and like every time I read a book of one that I chose, I'll like mark it with a sticker or something, and if we fill up this whole board, we could like put it up. I don't know, I think it'd be fun. What you do is you have two different dice, and then whatever one dice is, like say you roll a 3 and a 3, you'd do this TBR prompt, and that's how we're gonna choose our TBR. We are going to choose 7 books today for our January TBR because I feel like I want to be more mood reading throughout the month. I don't want to fully have like such a large monthly TBR that I don't have like wiggle room to read more books. You know what I mean? I really want to finish my 25 books in 2025 this year because as we saw last year I failed. I'm doing like a book reset video where I'm going to talk about all my reading goals and my new reading goals for this year, and I'll go over all of that, but I, spoiler alert, failed my 24 books in 2024 challenge, but I really want to do well with it this year. When we're using these prompts to pick our books, I will be first looking at my 25 books in 2025 that I did in the beginning of the year to see if any of these fit into these categories. I bought these set of dice. They're such pretty colors, I think, because family and friends and I play Catan a lot. Best game ever. If you haven't played it, you should. I love it. I'm obsessed with it. But we play Catan a lot, and we all use our own set of dice that like matches our color, and I feel like these like kind of go well together. Book 1.
Okay, so now we're gonna roll for our first book. So our first dice is 2 and our second dice is 3. It's a little bit harder to see, but if we put those together, that means a book set in the present.
So a book set in the present. I'm not really sure what this means. Let's see what books I have in my 2025 TBR. Oh, do you know what I might do? I am going to choose Book Lovers by Emily Henry. This is a book on our 2025 TBR, and it is a contemporary romance. I think that is how we are going to decide that it's set in the present, because contemporary means like current. So this is like a current romance, and I feel like that fits our TBR prompt perfectly, and I'm so excited that our first book is one that was on our 2025 TBR. This is about Nora and Charlie. They both have like bookish jobs, which is so fun. I haven't read many books that were like the main character or librarian or editor or anything like that, but the ones that I have read I really liked. Nora Stevens' life is books. Same, can relate to you on that. She is a literary agent. Charlie is an editor. Nora ends up going to a small town with her sister. They travel and they meet each other, and I feel like they start out maybe not enemies, but just like strangers, and they just keep on getting thrown together. Such a cute plot and characters, and I love Emily Henry's writing. So we're going to choose Book Lovers for our first book. So moving on to book 2.
Okay, so now for book 2, one dice that is number 1, and then our second dice is number 3. Again, it's yellow, it's hard to see, sorry. If we put those two together, then we get a book you keep meaning to read but haven't.
Book you keep meaning to read but haven't yet. That is a lot of them. That's a lot of them. Look at my entire 2024 TBR. A book I keep meaning to read but don't. Oh, okay. Another one. another one that is on our 2025 TBR. And I think it's so funny. My boyfriend and I live together. He knows that I have this library, obviously. He got me a few books as part of my like Christmas gift. And he actually got me this same book because he says that I always like talked about it and then I never got a chance to read it, and he didn't realize that I actually had it on my shelf because I just kept talking about it all the time. He got it for me and we had to return it because I already had a copy. But I think that is the perfect indicator that Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh is the book we're going to choose for our book number 2 of our January TBR, because this is just I have softy enough in this book for like a year and a half now, and the reason is because it is such a thick, long book. Some people love this book, some people don't love it. Hyped up books like this I feel like are so daunting because I have like so much high expectations for them. This is going to the book that I had been really meaning to read but haven't yet. Even my boyfriend knows it. I have talked about Binding 13 on this channel so many times, so a brief summary so I don't like repeat myself over and over again. Shannon and Johnny, he's the star rugby player, she is a shy new girl that gets bullied and everything like that, and he becomes her like protector, and of course they fall in love. That is basically what this story is about, and I need to read it already because I have all the books. I have the ombre versions of all the books, I just keep not reading it. So I think that's a perfect book for our books I haven't read yet but meaning to. Book 3.
Alright, so for book 3, our first dice was a number 5, and then our second dice was a number 2. I was really trying to get the camera to focus on it, and if we put those together, we get a book that is part of a series.
I loved this one because we actually got book that is part of a series for our next book. I think I'm in the middle of, I want to say, at least 10 series. One of my like main goals this year is to really cut down on the series and only be in between a couple series at a time. And I'll talk about this more in the book reset video. Like the only reason why I'm in between a series is because the next book isn't out yet. Like that is what I want to get back to. Book in a series. And you know what? This is what I'm gonna do. Two Twisted Crowns, the last book in the Shepherd King duology. The first book is One Dark Window, and I read that in like December, I think, and I loved it so much. It was like my favorite book in December. I think it was a 5-star read even. Like I really loved One Dark Window, and this will be accomplishing the goal of finishing a series that I'm in the middle of, and also a series that I'm really anticipating. This is the second book, so I can't really tell you too much what this is about, but the whole Shepherd King series revolves around this set of magical cards, and this whole magic system is about these cards. And this girl, Elspeth, got like the fever that a lot of people get, where basically it means that she has magic, and people that have magic are taken care of by the government, if you know what I mean. So she's been hiding it. Her goal is to collect all the cards that are scattered throughout the nation basically, and she's working with, of course, her main love interest. Then if she collects all the cards, then she can... the robot's going, and I feel like that completely distracted me from what I was saying. She only has 1 or 2 more to collect, and of course it is the 2 most rare ones. So that's what this book, I'm guessing, is about. And then for book 4.
So for our next book, we rolled, and one dice had 1 and the other dice had 6. So if we put those together, our prompt is the last book added to the TBR list.
Okay, this one's funny because I really had to think about this. I'm gonna expose myself right now. The prompt that we got is book that was added last to your TBR. I almost want to pull out my statement and see what book I bought. I don't remember. God, that's so bad. I buy so many books. That is another goal. I'm not gonna buy as many books this year. Oh, wait. I think I know. Oh no, wait, no. The full last book that was added to my TBR that came into my library about a week ago is Shadow Princess, which is the 4th book in the Zodiac Academy series. However, I am not on the 4th book yet. I am on the 3rd book, so we are going to use this book as the book that was last added to our TBR, because technically the book after it was last added to our TBR. And I feel like that, like, just basically the Zodiac Academy was the last book added to my TBR. So we are going to add The Reckoning. I have some of the Zodiac Academy series, and I have only read the first 2 books, obviously. I am obsessed. I don't like the bully romance. That's the one thing where I'm like, it's not a 5-star series for me yet. I don't know how the author's gonna turn it around, because the love interest, there's some really messed up stuff to our main characters, and I just don't know, like I don't know how we're gonna redeem them. They're starting to be redeemed, but it's still like, okay, I don't forget Darius, like I know what you did. I don't forget easy, okay? I do really love this story, and it is getting more involved. I love the magic system. It revolves around two sisters who are basically lost princesses of the Zodiac kingdom, essentially, and it takes place in a school, and we all know that I love dark academia and fantasy combined. It is like my favorite genre ever, so this falls directly into that. It's a school of fae, and there are different orders that the fae can evolve into, which is like, you know, dragons, Pegasus, and three-headed dogs. Like every fae can like evolve into something else, like a siren even, or a vampire, or a werewolf. Darcy and Tori, who are hi, sorry, my camera died. Our two main characters are the lost princesses. They have the most power in the world, and the heirs are the ones that are trying to put them down, which is one of them is I think the love interest, and that is why they're being so mean to them, because they want them to quit, because if they wanted to take the throne they could. Also, they're dealing with this like really big threat of like nymphs, which are basically like things that are evil and they suck up magic and can use it for like evil. I don't know. Yeah. So like I said, I'm on the second book. It is a very involved world. It's a very long series, but I am excited to read our next one. Book number 5.
Our first dice was a 6 and our second dice was a 4. So if we put those together, that's Book with a Pink Cover.
Very basic. I like that. I feel like there are just so many options for us. We're gonna do it. Once Upon a Broken Heart. We're gonna do it. This is a fully pink cover. I think this was basically, it was a sign. It was a sign that I need to read it, because this is the fully pink cover and the prompt was a book with pink on the cover. This is the book we're gonna choose. So excited. This is the first book in the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. I finished reading Caraval, which is the preceding series to this series, and I loved it so much. I love Stephanie Garber's writing. This book is on my 2025 TBR, and I also actually gifted it to my friend because I think that she would really enjoy it, and we are going to do a little buddy read together of it. A fantasy romance series. It's the story of Evangeline. She strikes a deal with the Prince of Hearts, who we met in the Caraval trilogy, and if it was anything like Caraval, it's basically like this game where Evangeline has to figure out all these clues, and it's a very dangerous game as well. And it involves Jax, which I love Jax. It has been on my TBR for so long, and I need to read it now because I have a friend that's gonna hold me accountable. Our 6th book.
This time we rolled a 6 on one dice and a 1 on the other dice, and if you put those together, we get a book given to you as a gift.
It is The Seaside Sisters by Pamela Kelly. This is a book that my boyfriend got me, and the reason is because when we were looking at books in Target, it was like the 3-for-1 deal, so, or like 2-for-1 deal, something like that, and I had 2 books and I just need a third one. He was helping me like try and figure out what book I wanted, and he chose this one because he thought it would be interesting, and the reason he thought it would be interesting is because the main character is an author, and there's also a character named Sarah who is a librarian. He was like, this is the book that was made for you. It's very pretty. It is a summer book, and I feel like sometimes I really like reading summer books in the winter time just because it's like the more of that escapism aspect. It is a beach read, but now like I have snow out my window and I'm reading a summer book, I feel like that's kind of fun. It sounds so cute. It says the pair will spend summer making friends, rekindling romance, and opening themselves up to the magic of books and the beach. That does sound right up my alley, honestly. Good pick by him. Okay, our last book we are choosing for this month's TBR from our fun little dice game.
So this was funny because my first roll was actually the same one as my last roll, which is kind of wild that it happened like that. But then we rolled again, and one dice said 5, and the other dice was a 1, which meant read a banned book.
I love this prompt. I remember this has been like a thing for so long, like that now like schools are banning books that we used to read in school. Let me type in a list of banned books. To Kill a Mockingbird, I had to read that. Like Catcher in the Rye, I had to read that. Brave New World, I had to read that. That's crazy that they're banning all these books in schools that I had to read. A Court of Mist and Fury? A Court of Mist and Fury got banned. It's also notable for being one of the books that spurred Virginia State legislator Tim Anderson to sue Barnes & Noble in hopes of stopping sales of the book. The case was later tossed out. Are you kidding me? You're gonna ban one of the best books? No. Looking for Alaska. That was like all over Tumblr when I was younger. Okay, so I guess a lot of the books that are banned are books that I don't have. I'm gonna choose The Giver by Lois Lowry, dystopian novel. A lot of people had to read this book. I didn't have to read this book in school, but a lot of people like really liked it. And I always hear about The Giver. I think it's even a movie and I want to watch it. I haven't had a chance to watch it, but I've always wanted to kind of read it because it's just like one of those books that you've heard about so much for so many years, like even in school and as a kid and with your friends and everything like that, like The Giver, and I just have never read it. So I think I'm gonna add The Giver to our January TBR throwback to Lois Lowry, but that's so crazy that they're banning it now. That is going to be the last book on my January TBR. This was such a fun way to choose our TBR. I think I'm gonna do this way again maybe in a few months. I do, like I said, I want to like really try different TBR methods this year, so it's not gonna be seen for another couple of months probably. Our January TBR is one, The Giver, for a banned book, because I just feel like it's one of those books that's like a classic that I feel like I should read. Then we have The Seaside Sisters by Pamela Kelly, Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. How many times have these been on my monthly TBR? Zodiac Academy, The Reckoning. This is also the indie published version. They're publishing like the new versions now, but I want to get all the indie versions first. Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillick. Binding 13 coming up again by Chloe Walsh. And Book Lovers by Emily Henry. That completes our January TBR. I feel good about this because we have 1, 2, 3 books that are on my 25 books I want to read in 2025. And if we can read these 3 books in this month of January, that is going to be a great head start for our yearly TBR. That is going to be it from me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!